Hello watch lovers, welcome to my very first podcast. I'm about to make loads of mistakes. On a usual day I make at least 20, so today's going to be even more than that. So to join me on that I've got my friend here, Marc, who has launched a Facebook channel all about watches a number of years ago, and he's got quite a few subscribers. Thanks for joining me today.
No, my pleasure, thank you.
So this is podcast number 1, and you are the first person
First
we've
of
got
many.
on here. Yes, let's hope so. So I'd just like to ask you a few questions about how did you start this?
I've always loved watches. I've looked at other groups on Facebook, Rolexes, other watches, and I thought to myself, it was probably about 5-6 years ago, I'll start my own group. And its first couple of years was very steady, had a few hundred members in there, and now I'm up to just under 10,000.
Wow.
The reason why I did the group is really because I just love watches. I love other people posting their watches. I enjoy just looking at them. Other people enjoy looking at other people's watches, and it's just a nice little forum.
So are you the administrator, obviously, and
Yeah.
you have to allow people into the group?
Yeah, I allow people into the group. I allow most people into the group. When they post a picture of a watch, I've got to accept the watch. I don't want fakes in the group. I really don't want fakes. It annoys me and it annoys the other members. Sometimes a few slip through the net because I'm not an expert on watches, but some are so obvious. They've bought them from the looky man on the beach. But most of them are good, you know.
Does your group get a lot of what is this worth and is this a fake? I see that on a number of groups where people are constantly asking sort of, how do you know? I mean, this is something I'm asked so many times.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people post, they call it a legit check. They want to know if it's real or not. Sometimes I just leave it to the other members. Sometimes I can spot it. But some, as you know, some of the copies are incredible. Like, it's scary.
Yeah. Do you spend a lot of time sort of on admin, and is there a big build up of people?
To be honest with you, I don't spend loads of time on it at all, but I just enjoy it as the other members. You know, it's just it's my hobby and I enjoy it.
Sure. Going back to the fakes, I mean, it's something we're going to talk about on this show and bring out a number of the fakes. When people send them in to us, sometimes when we inform them that the watch is a fake, they just say they don't even want it back. But the different stories, but most of the time now, that's why we'll always ask for a picture. When we see a picture of a watch and we know that we've got a bimetal day date that never existed, you've got President bracelets on date just, and people look at us and say, how do you know? And so much we can tell just from looking at a picture of the watch. And I always say, often the back of the watch, I mean, we all know the Daytona winners.
Yeah, I've seen them,
You've seen those?
Yeah.
I'm sure you spot a lot of them now, where the dial just looks out of proportion.
Yeah, and on the date as well, the magnifying's not there.
Yeah.
There's a few giveaways.
Yeah.
But some, as I said, you just can't tell.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
But at times
you can tell, I can't tell.
Well, absolutely. I mean, look, we can tell from pictures, and even easier when you handle the piece.
Yeah.
And a lot of the fakes will smell metal as well. They have sort of a different way, different feel about them. But it is upsetting people because often they've been gifted or passed them down, and you have to tell them that the watch isn't genuine, or if someone's passed away and left something. But it's upsetting for people.
Of course
it is.
Yeah, of course.
But often, sometimes our first question is, when someone shows us a steel Daytona or something and they go, it was given as a gift, my first question is, the person who gave you that as a gift, do they normally give you something of that value?
Yeah.
And when the answer's no, you sort of half get an idea.
And if it's a watch that's presented to you, like a newish watch that's got no paperwork, where's this paperwork gone?
It's an interesting one, and we speak about to a lot of people on this. I always say you don't wear paperwork. If you're buying something as an investment, you'll spend more on a watch with paperwork, but you'll get back more. But if you're buying something just to wear, I mean, there are plenty of people who throw away packaging boxes. So it's important, depending on where you've bought it from.
Yeah.
If you've bought it from a legitimate place where you've got an invoice and you know the watch is genuine, and it might be £1,000 less without papers, it doesn't really matter if you're... I say to people, you don't wear papers. You don't go out and say, I bought this, it's 2020, and here's the papers.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah?
of course.
So it's not... as long as you know the watch is genuine, and often some beautiful condition pieces, it's not uncommon where we have new old stock or something from 20 years ago. Yes, if it had papers, amazing, but if it's a beautiful watch, it's still a beautiful watch with or without papers.
Yeah,
that doesn't change.
No, of course.
And at times it may have been back to Rolex or ourselves, and if you've got, you know the watch is genuine, the fact it hasn't got papers isn't a reason to sort of downgrade the piece.
Yeah.
The piece is the piece.
Yeah.
The papers add,
Yeah.
but they also don't take away if they haven't got. If it's
Still a stunning watch.
it's still a
with or
stunning
without.
watch.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially we find this with vintage. Look, if you find something old that's got papers, incredible. But if the piece is old but an incredible piece, it's still an incredible piece.
Yeah, of course. And you're very rarely going to get papers with an old.
Exactly.
You know.
The stories, I mean, generally when we speak to people, they either say they've moved, they've got divorced, they threw them away, they bought them abroad, they bought the watch abroad, they've just lost. I mean,
it happens.
it happens.
Yeah.
It's like an iPhone now. Imagine the paperwork or a box, everyone throws it away. And years ago, people were not as precious about the paperwork.
Yeah.
I mean, most other watches, again, a lot of older watches, especially, depends if you've got the room. Some of these boxes were quite huge and they just didn't keep them. It's not uncommon.
Yeah.
So Mark, tell me, if I had to ask you, what's your sort of fate? What pieces do you like? What sort of brand of watch or style of watch? What would be something that you'd look at?
My favourite watch, my brand of watch is probably Rolex. I love Audemars Piguet as well. Right now, my favourite Rolex, it'd probably be the Platinum Daytona.
Yeah.
But I love all the stainless steel sports watches.
Sure.
I've
got a couple here I'll show you today. I've actually got an AP piece over here. Here, if you want to try that on. That's the carbon.
That's lovely. That's the 44, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's a lovely watch.
That's the carbon there. What everyone says with that piece, amazing how light it is.
It's so light.
Yeah. But Platinum Daytona, like you say, is
Yeah,
a
it's a
stunning
beautiful
piece.
watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really lovely. Love it.
As I say, suits you, but you're not having it today anyway.
Well, come on, checkbook. That's a lovely watch.
And then we've got a few other pieces here. I know there's something you mentioned. I mean, this is a very rare piece. I've got it here from... It's referred to as the Eye of the Tiger. This is something, again, if you have a look at that, it's the Eye of the Tiger, and you've got to look at it a few times. Not everyone sees it. This is compared. If you go in Cape Town, there's something called Lion's Head, and if you look at some people get it where you look up and it's like a mountain of a rock that looks like a lion's head, and some people look at it and they don't get it. And the same with that, the Eye of the Tiger.
Stunning
See, when
watch.
you look into it,
I know the buyer for this watch.
Yeah,
Conor McGregor, all day long.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Unfortunately, it's not for sale.
Is it not?
I got it for a private customer and asked him tonight if we could show it.
Just a beautiful, stunning, expensive timepiece on a oyster.
I think it's right on the oyster.
Yeah.
I think it really is. And there, if the viewers can see
Beautiful.
it, you sort of look, you really can see that is a tiger.
Also, another thing, a lot of people try and sell their watches on Facebook, and I personally wouldn't go to a stranger's house to buy a watch. I was buying a Submariner last week. It was the right price. It was he wanted $7.5 grand for it, and I knew it was the right money for it.
What was the reference of the watch?
It was a V 2010, last of the old.
So that's a 16610.
Yeah.
The insert bezels, not the
Steel
ceramic.
bezel, yeah.
Steel
Just
bezels.
before it was $7.5 grand. I thought it was the right money. I spoke to the guy. He FaceTimed me. He was so polite and nice. It put me off. I thought, he's too nice.
Where was it? Where did you have to travel to?
Winchester, not a million miles away. And I was going, and something in my stomach. I thought to myself, you know what?
And how did the gentleman want you paying for it?
Bank transfer. I have done it before, but you hear so many horror stories, especially on Facebook. Something stopped me. You know what? The bottom line is, I'd rather pay someone like yourself, a dealer, an extra £1,000 ish, and I'd rather lose £1,000 paying more than lose £10,000 going to a stranger. And And that's how I look at it. You know, everyone likes a deal, but I personally, I'd rather go to you, spend the next £1,000, 1,500 quid, whatever it may be, and know
Mark,
for peace of mind.
I got to tell you, but this is the thing: you wouldn't even necessarily pay that much more. But over the years, we've heard so many horror stories of people who have got it wrong. I had a gentleman last year who had dealt with me quite a few times, and we were £300 apart on a Submariner.
Really?
The same sort of thing. I'd offered 7.2 and he wanted 7.5. And he said to me, look, I've got a really good guy, he's been on eBay, he keeps asking me, he wants me to buy the watch. So he said, you know, I'm really going to go with it, I know the watch is worth. So he done it. So we done other deals. He leaves my office, he sent the watch off, he said to me, you know, I'll be back in touch. Phones me on Friday, says, got paid for the watch, brilliant, PayPal, no problem. The following Wednesday he goes, would you still be interested? The guy's messing me about, he's returning it. I said, no problem at all. His name was James, the gentleman. So he's called me, come back in the following Friday. And he goes, look, I'm really sorry, I know I messed you around, but the guy bought it, paid for it, and he's returned the watch. So he came in like we're sitting here, Mark, and he's opened the box, right in the middle here. He's opened the box, got the watch here, opened the box, taken the papers out, seen the box, perfect. As he's got the watch out from here, I've looked at it and said, you got a problem here, that's not right. So he's gone white. We've looked at the watch, they've returned his box, his papers, the credit card, fake watch.
Terrible.
And got straight on the phone to eBay, to PayPal. What happened was, he's got paid, and when they're returned, they go through an escrow. They get back the money, and they get back the watch, and then they send you the watch and me the money back.
Yeah.
So this gentleman who's got his money returned to him and supposedly returned the watch, he had returned the watch, but a fake watch, because the escrow agent doesn't know what a watch is supposed to look like.
No.
And this is the thing.
It's going on all the time.
This is what goes on.
All the time.
And this is where we speak on another channel with someone called Paul Thorpe. And this is where we try and explain to people how we're here to make sure we do care about the watch, but we care more about viewers and people. And what made me sort of reach out more, and with our new website, is to put people in a safe place. Everyone who comes into our office, unless they're in a rush, we will not let them leave the office until the money's in their bank account. And equally, if we're selling, we ask to be paid and we ship watches, and then if they're not sure about the watch, they return the watch to us. But this is what we say all the time. It's bringing your people together and making it in a safe environment that they're happy with. There's nothing worse, and it will put people off for life when they're robbed of, like say, a 7 or a 10,000, because there's no way back from it.
No, it really isn't.
I mean, I had someone on the show with Paul a few months back, a chap called Tony on the Paul Thorpe show, and again he had someone come to his house and the guy paid him in cash. He put an envelope down and suddenly he was distracted. The guy left and said, I'll go rush off and check it, and Tony's gone to touch the envelope. It had one £50 note, the rest was betting slips inside. And he then went on to try and capture the guy. He came to me the following day and had some other watches sell, and he said, I will never ever have someone in my home for the security, therefore they know what your house looks like, where your keys are. He said, never again, and he's learned the hard way. But it's here to stop this happening to people, and that's what we say. I mean, anyone, anywhere in the country, we send out special delivery packs which are fully insured, can be up to any amount, or we can get the watch collected, comes to our office, it's checked, we then get on the phone and make the payment.
Peace of mind, you know.
And if the watch we're not happy with, we return the watch to them. There is no charge for it.
But if someone sent you a watch and it wasn't right and you sent it back, would that person say, I never sent that's not the watch I sent you? Have you had that before?
Well, what we do is we video everything when it comes in. Everything is checked, and then it's video. We have CCTV and footage of everything. We have had people send in fake watches and believe them to be different. But what we do is we ask for pictures before the watch comes in. So often a fake watch won't turn up to us. But we've got a good relationship with police and fraud, and we've been involved in a number of things where there's been issues. But one thing, what we do have with the police now, every watch we check it. See, this is the other thing that a private individual, if you were to go and buy this watch, although the guy seems genuine and you've paid him, there could be an issue with the history of the watch.
Yeah.
It could have a sordid past. There could be a problem with it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's tricky, there's a lot of horrors out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to the group then, so generally it's mainly Rolex, or is it?
It is just Rolex. I've called it the Rolex group. So if someone tries to post an AP, even though I love them, I don't let them in because I've got to keep it as Rolex.
So they have
group.
to ask you before posting?
Yeah. So
what do you do? Just okay it? And
okay, listen, I have let a few fakes in without realising, but then someone else will pick up on it, and then they'll report it, and I'll just remove them and block the member. We don't really want any fakes.
So if someone posts a fake,
we'll remove them from the group straight away.
Right.
So but you do get to know people on Facebook, and also eBay as well. You get to know. I met some really nice dealers through eBay.
Sure. Are people mainly on there then to show their watch, or are they interested in buying or selling?
Bit of everything, actually. Some people are just trying to sell, some people are trying to buy, and some people are just enjoying wearing a watch and doing a little wrist roll. They love their watches, and it's nice to look at.
I love the unboxing, and obviously we unbox on a daily basis, and we will show some of these.
Yeah.
So when a parcel comes in, we're unboxed, and we're as surprised as anyone because we genuinely don't know what is coming in.
Brilliant.
So we speak
Christmas Day.
Every day. So we speak to a number of customers, and we'll unbox, and you'll look and you think, oh, that's a big box. Maybe it's sports, maybe it's Daytona.
Yeah.
And different sorts of things the whole time. We'll show some of this to the viewers moving forward.
But I'm very guilty of getting caught in the hype. I always get caught in the hype. Like when the new Submariner came out, the 41 date.
What, the black one?
6 months ago, the black one. I don't know why. I had to have one, and I paid like ridiculous money for it. I was like,
go on, Mark. Tell us what you paid.
I can't tell you.
Go on, because I paid. But I promise you, I've done mistakes. We all make mistakes. We have to make mistakes.
I paid 12 grand.
What for the
black? Not the.
Oh well, I'll tell you a better one than that. I don't mind sharing with you.
Go on.
What do you think I paid for a Starbucks?
You probably paid, as they came out, 17.
Yeah.
17.
I paid £18,000. They were trading at 20.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you guys and the viewers there, you'll know what I sold it for.
Go on.
15,750. Yeah. So although people think we get right and we don't always pay,
No.
I think what people have to realise is just what something's advertised for doesn't mean what it sells for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you have one from day one, it's good marketing for you as well.
Yeah.
So because
that was it.
£1,500 is not the end of the world.
I got caught up in it. I wanted to have the watch.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it was like a pack of cards.
Yeah.
It was just collapsing.
Yeah.
I mean, 12 grand on what you paid for that, it's not terrible.
No.
I mean,
It's
they're
not great.
trading
10 and a half-ish.
10,950, 11 and a quarter.
Yeah.
That sort of money.
Yeah.
But things are moving. It's like currency.
Yeah.
They are moving on a regular basis.
Yeah.
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 But you can't get everything right. What over the years? What's some of your what's like your favourite piece, or looking back when you think something was a great buy and it probably didn't seem at the time, but looking back now.
Back in 2000, end of 2014, I saw the James Cameron, and I fell in love with it. I absolutely loved it because I was wearing Submariners really before that, and I loved it. And I put my name down. I found all the ADs I could think of. First one being in Brent Cross. It's a local one, and I put my name down. After about 6 months, I got the call from, it was Mappin and Webb at the time.
What, in Brent Cross?
In Brent Cross. I've got you a James Cameron. I ran down there. I drove that 100 miles an hour. It was 8250 then, and I put it on my and I had it on my wrist. I didn't get bored of it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And that was probably my favourite purchase at the time. It was my first. I was always wearing Submariners. This was like a bit of a jump up for me, and I absolutely loved it. But I'd say within 3 months, I got 4 or 5 calls from ADs. You watch it in. So I went and got them all.
So what, you bought a few of the James
I bought them
Camerons?
all, yeah. Within 6 months, I got the whole lot. Wow. And it was a nice little.
What was your first ever real watch, may I ask?
My very first Rolex I bought was a Submariner, and I bought it from a place called Arts and Antiques in Bond Street. A guy called Raj.
Yeah, I know Raj.
And he charged me £1,800 for a sub date with full kit.
And so when was this? How old was the watch?
I was about 21, maybe 22. about 30 odd years ago. And the watch wasn't new either. It was probably a couple of years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't mind sharing with you. My first ever watch was probably about mid-90s.
Yeah.
I had a jewellers and pawnbrokers store, and one came in.
Yeah.
And I tried the watch on and thought, oh, this is really nice. At the time, like, you would never wear this piece. I would never wear this piece now. It was a bimetal Jubilee bracelet, midi.
Midis were big.
With a white dial.
Midis were big.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That was sort of mid-90s. Yeah. Another watch I remember.
Was that 500, 600, 700 quid at the time?
Oh, yeah. Something like that, sort of mid-90s. I remember another watch that I absolutely loved, the Cartier Pasha chronograph.
Yeah, amazing.
Not the bigger one. With the blue buttons.
Yeah, beautiful.
And it was the blue dial. But it wasn't the one with the fish eyes, it was the earlier one.
Right, okay.
You know, that had the round chronograph buttons.
Yeah.
And whenever I come across that watch now, I always think back. But I remember, I think at the time, it was probably early 2000, £1,800.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Mad. Prices just mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first. It was a Submariner. And I think the non-date was 1,500 quid and the date was 1,800 quid.
So that was like in the 90s. So you, I mean, I didn't even understand. I couldn't afford a Rolex back in the day, in those days.
But you know what, for me it was just like, buy a watch. If I needed a bit of money, I could always sell the watch. You know, it was always trading, you know. But I've always loved watches.
Yeah. So this was what, early 90s?
I'd say it was about 92 maybe-ish, around 91, 92.
Marc, so do you have guys on the Facebook group who regularly post, sort of daily or weekly?
There's one guy actually, his name's Dean. He's a great photographer with watches and he puts up some great watches. That's an absolute pleasure to have on board.
What, sports? Or?
All sports watches, yeah. Rolex, AP. Yeah, he's got some great watches. There's another guy, he's a really good character actually. He was working at an AD for about 30, 40 years. He's now retired. So there's nothing he doesn't know about a watch. So he's always good to, you know, you can always like private message me and say, look out for that one. That's not right, or this is good, or that's not, you know. So
Marc, your Facebook group seems the place for me. Maybe I could get a photographer and someone who knows about watches. They might be able to help me out.
Let's do it.
Some of your people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
going back, photographing a watch is not easy. I mean, we've got a guy now who does all our website stuff. He's amazing. But it's not easy, the reflection.
It's hard, isn't it? I want to take a picture, you know, you've got the spotlights at home and you get the white dot in the middle.
Do you know how Rolex's watches have done so well? Do you know what their trick is?
Go on.
Okay. All the glass is removed and no movements. So they're all set at the smiley face of the 10 to 2.
Yeah.
And they're all on 28 of the date and there's no movement and no glass.
No glass. Glass is
the
a
glass is...
That's a reflection, yeah.
Yeah. Really
That's clever. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So let's have a look here, see what
got.
else I've got to show you here. There we go, classic. Remember that?
Lovely Pepsi, Coke.
That's Coke.
Beautiful. Lovely. So clean as well.
I've also got the Coke's brother here, the Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for the viewers out there, that's obviously the Coke is based on the red and black, as in the Coke.
Yeah.
And the Pepsi is the blue.
Yeah, amazing.
The blue and the red. But obviously those are going back to the 90s, 2000s.
The older watches feel quite a lot lighter, don't they, than the modern watches?
Yeah.
And I know like this is a 40 and the Submariner's a 40, but it wears smaller on the wrist.
It's amazing actually.
The casings.
As my staff have been putting up and I've been involved loading everything on the website, do you know all of the sports, they're all 40 mils. All of them.
All of them?
From the Explorers to the Subs to the non-date.
Yeah.
Every single model, even when you go back to 80s, they're all 40 mil. And they still, like, obviously the Sub now is 41 and we've got the Deep Sea that you've got where they're 43. But generally, all of the sports was 40 millimetre.
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah,
but
they, like you said, they look different based on the bezel. When you have the Explorer 1, where it's got the polished bezel, the watch looks smaller.
Because there's no bezel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a question for you. What watch do you reckon is the next one to pop? I mean, I hear that maybe the Wimbledon dial is going mad. The Explorer.
What is in? You think so?
It's going to go up, like
go
explode.
Up.
The next one to go mad.
Well, the OPs, the 41 mil OP in the turquoise.
In the Tiffany blue. Tiffany blue.
Have you seen the price of that?
It's gone nuts. I know. It's doubled, no?
Yeah. Over 10,000. But forget about doubling. You can't even get it.
No.
That's the thing. The yellows, the reds, but the Tiffany blues.
The pink's also very nice.
Candy pink. And again, that's only available in 36. You can't get it in 41.
Can't get it. Wow.
I'm not sure. There's a lot of talk. I mean, we got Bourne coming up. I think they're doing a live video stream because that's when all the new watches are released.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes up sort of end of March, April normally.
I keep hearing a few rumours that the James Cameron's going to get discontinued. I know it's talk and nobody actually knows. But have you heard that at all? Or?
I've heard that. The other one, the Red Writing 50th anniversary.
The 43.
I think that one as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. The other thing that I think makes sense that's going to come out, I think there'll be an Oyster Flex in something steel.
Stainless, yeah.
Saint stainless.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, what we had in today, which beautiful piece, the Yachtmaster 40 in the white gold.
Yeah, nice. What colour dial?
Legit, with the black dial.
Black dial.
Very understated, stunning piece. I wasn't sure on it. I've had the rose gold.
I'm sorry, the white gold with the rubber.
The white gold with the rubber.
Yeah.
I mean, the watch is a lot of money. Beautiful piece.
Yeah, nice watch.
But I do think we're going to see something like maybe some of the new pieces. There, the Daytona. I mean, the Panda is just so
clean.
popular.
Such a clean dial. Love it.
But again, I'd love that watch to be blown up to make it a little
42.
bit bigger.
Yeah. If that was a 42, I think it'd be the absolute perfect watch. But
well, even we
don't
got
get
the
me
date just now.
At 40, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful.
So they make the date just, as you know, in the 41 now.
I've done well. I'm pleased you bought my checkbook. Love them all. They're amazing.
Smart, I've got to ask you, if money was no object and someone said to you, I want you to go and buy whatever you want, what would be your go-to? So someone's buying you whatever you want.
It's a hard question.
What would be the piece?
Can I have two?
You can have two. You can have five. But I'm just saying one.
I'll tell you what I love. I love the AP, the 41 Royal Oak Skellington in the rose gold. That's a beautiful watch. Not sure how much they are actually, but
I think it's about 100,000.
And I absolutely love the titanium Schumacher.
Yes,
I love
with
that
like
watch.
the grey, the putty grey strap.
I love that, and you know what? I'll have the rose gold as well. I love those watches.
That's what you like.
Yeah, and I'd also one more.
Go on then. Go on.
I'll have the rose gold, the green dial day date.
The green, the olive with the stick like Roman numeral dial. It's funny. We're speaking with a customer today. Try and buy one of those.
Okay, well, it's not long to my birthday.
All right, well, I'll let you know.
Thank you very much.
Mark, thank you. My first show today.
Thank you
really
for having
great.
me.
Thank you.
I hope I haven't paused it up for you.
No, you've done great.
Thank you for having
Look,
me.
viewers, it's my first show here today. We're working hard. I promise you it'll get better. We've had Marc, who's done great for us today. I'm really looking forward to hearing and give us all your comments on what we should do. And please like, subscribe, and hit all the buttons that you got to do to keep this going. So guys, hope you like the pod. I promise you we'll get better at this. Work in progress, and hope to see you next week back on this channel.